So Alec Baldwin, I got to ask first, have you worked with Alec Baldwin before?
No, but I have worked with his brother.
Which one?
Oh. Billy
Baldwin. Yeah. Okay, he's got another one that acts too, right?
The other one is the father of Haley Baldwin.
Yes.
And he was an actor.
Yeah.
But
and not related to Adam Baldwin, who's super based. Remember that. They're not related. That's haram to say that they're related.
Okay.
Do you know who Adam Baldwin
No.
is? Okay. Adam Baldwin was on Firefly and Chuck. He's been around.
Oh, he's based?
Yeah. So he was from what I've heard, it's said that he came up with the term Gamergate. I don't know for sure whether that's 100% true, but yeah, he was on The Last Ship, that show. Super based dude. So you haven't worked with Alec Baldwin
I haven't,
before.
but when I stared speaking out, Billy Baldwin blocked me.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed because he's married also to one of the sisters from the band. Do you know?
From a band?
Yeah, it was a popular one in the 80s.
What's it called?
Or here, let me just look it up.
I don't know.
But yeah, okay, back to the topic. I think it's insane that you can say that you didn't pull the trigger on the mechanism that killed someone that is incapable of going off without pulling the trigger.
Well, there's some pushback on that now because there was an article today from TMZ that says gun that killed cinematographer had modified trigger. More embarrassment for the prosecutors. Still doesn't explain how he produced a movie that allowed live rounds.
Modified
to end up on set.
how?
So it says the prop gun Baldwin used back in 2021 had been modified. This is according to LA Times. The trigger mechanism had been changed, which increased the probability it could have misfired without Baldwin pulling the trigger.
It says also they don't know when authorities learned of the modification on the gun.
Dude.
And if they didn't know this whole time.
Yeah.
No, that is so... What does that mean? There's always like some... But then, like some little... Actually, no.
It's retroactive evidence they're finding.
It's like having an election and then changing the numbers at the end.
And even
Crazy.
Pausing it.
crazier is that the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, has not had her charges dropped.
Nope.
The person who actually pulled the trigger
Crazy.
has had his charges dropped. She is still...
I mean, even more than him
have to
pulling the
testify.
trigger is him being the producer who brought all this to fruition, meaning his hires, his set, his chaotic set.
Right.
He's responsible ultimately at the end of the day.
They say the energy and the ethos of that environment starts from the top down,
Exactly.
obviously. But he was always so on the gun issue.
Yeah.
And then to be the poster boy for not knowing how to handle a gun, not checking to see if it was loaded, but I mean, doing all the things you're supposed to do when you carry a firearm. And he didn't do any of that.
Not to mention just even dry firing or anything like that when you're not supposed to be.
I can't even imagine. Like, it feels so uncomfortable when you're when you're acting and you're holding a weapon on someone.
I bet.
And you
especially if you are familiar with firearms.
Yeah.
You know how dangerous they are.
And you go through the safety check. So to even in rehearsal, you go through the safety check. So something was missed.
Yeah. It's the other thing is there's a $20 one right there, Mary.
This one's from Nick Ross. Love ya, Sa. Big hugs.
That's nice. Actually, that is what people call me who can't say Samira.
Maybe I'll say Sa.
Yeah,
maybe
you can do that.
Like calling pizzas Sa.
Somebody made a joke. They said call her Sammy the whole episode if you can't say. I was like, it didn't say it with an Italian accent. Hey, Sammy. Yeah, no. So for this, I pointed out because this came up on the Culture War earlier. There was an episode of a show called iZombie where an armorer doesn't like an actor and live sets up a weapon so that he gets shot on set. Mm-hmm. And that came out 2 years.
It's not like
before
nobody
this
has
happened.
thought of it.
Yeah,
and media predicts real life tragedies all the
does.
time.
Yeah.
It's not new.
Right.
And people were like, well, it's a big deal. And, Alec Baldwin, whether you think he's at fault or not, he's just such an insufferable person that you have a hard time feeling bad for anybody.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
But we know that they had personal disputes on set.
Yeah.
Right.
And that he is kind of angry.
He's known for that.
Temperamental nut job.
He's going to be involved in one of the next crises. I've already been making the crisis.
How
sound
did the
effects.
live rounds get in the gun? Ian
actually made a really good point the other night, though, because he pointed out on IRL, he said, if he really just wanted to hurt the one person, wouldn't he only have one live round and not another one? Because otherwise, it's only some of them were found on his ammo belt and other ones were spread out. What if one of them ended up in a weapon that was fired at him? Like why? Like if he had done it, wouldn't he have just had the one live round that would have mysteriously made its way into his weapon and not allowed others to be strewn about?
If they're strewn about, it looks more like a mistake on the part of the armorer.
But then it becomes the risk that he could have ended up. What if he gets shot?
Oh, good point.
Like, I mean, I don't know the script, so I don't know if that's.
The script wouldn't require that.
I don't know if he ends up getting shot in the movie,
But also,
so I don't know.
he wasn't. They weren't like. This wasn't in the middle of filming a scene, though.
No,
he was just
were
joking
still
around or whatever.
Joking
claims
around.
to have never pulled the trigger, and
Right.
this is what's really funny about it is he knows that he can prey upon people's ignorance about guns,
Right.
thinking that they can fire themselves.
The AR-15
It could go off
destroys the
without it.
meat.
Was it a revolver?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so was it fully loaded with live?
Yeah, as far as I know, the whole cylinder was full.
How does that happen?
No idea. It's
That-
crazy.
It's like
Someone with homicidal intent
Yep.
does that.
Oh, there's a $20 one
don't
right
know
there
who,
from a
but-
very familiar face.
This one is from
Com-
Comic Artist Pro Secrets.
That's Ethan Van Sciver, ladies and gentlemen.
Said, I think it's great that the SNL Trump almost got jail time before the actual Trump. Love you guys. Carry
Yeah.
on.
Thank
a
you,
good
Ethan.
point.
Also, Ethan decided to chime in on our episode the other day when we were talking about Zendaya and Jennifer Connelly. He puts it down. He says Jennifer Connelly is the most beautiful woman of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bold claim. I was like, in this case, Jennifer Connelly over Zendaya. Am I allowed to have an opinion on that? I don't know. I'm throwing in for
you
Jennifer
just had
Connelly.
one, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter if you were allowed.
I threw it in for Jennifer Connelly, but he threw his hat in the ring on that.
a lot
one.
of people in your generation really like Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, well, big.
Wait, Jennifer Connelly? Oh, I was thinking Jennifer Connelly is the older actress.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I was thinking Jennifer Lawrence. Yes.
Well, her too. I guess she's I think she's my age.
But Jennifer Connelly is like iconic. Like
yes. But
like
did you know that
aspirational.
Jennifer Lawrence is the first female action star of all time?
Oh my gosh.
Did you know that?
She did not see Aliens.
She's never seen
Yeah.
Alien
Clearly didn't.
or any of
Or
like
Terminator.
or any of the 10,000 TV shows that have had strong female characters since the 90s.
How can you say something like that?
I have my list. It's right here.
You know, somebody probably told her that,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "It's a fact."
Or like I made the point that it wasn't like a written interview. It was like a verbal interview. So I made the point that she might have just been like, "Oh, it wasn't happening a lot."
But even
and
if
it
you
came out the
misspoke,
wrong
there's
way.
such a thing as a Freudian slip
Yeah.
where you think that the significance you had on
Right,
cinema
right.
is equivalent to being the first action star
ever. Never happened before.
Maybe she meant her generation.
even then.
But
that's
even then,
not-
I don't even think that would count.
Probably not.
no, it,
Yeah.
it would not.
No.
In
So,
2011.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
So I don't think that's accurate.
Brett, I sent you an Instagram post from Ilaria Baldwin,
Yeah.
Spanish queen who
Oh,
can't
that's
pronounce
so
the word
strange.
cucumber in English. And she is just being cradled in the arms of Alec Baldwin here on Instagram
Oh, let me put it on screen. I don't have it on screen here. Now it's on screen. There it is.
with just a heart emoji in the caption.
She's like, thank gosh you didn't get
Can
in
you
trouble for killing another
imagine-
human being.
Can you imagine posing and like choreographing a photo like this for like to really post publicly?
I will say that that's exactly what I thought of when Jason Aldean's wife like took the bag of Balenciaga to throw it away. And it's like the Balenciaga is very clearly visible as she's like
Yeah.
walking out of her house. I'm like, who took that photo?
People do plandids on Instagram all the time, but this one is especially dark because
There's a death.
you are excusing yourself publicly of a tragic death that whether it was intentional or not, you should still feel awful about it.
Somehow they're the victim and they need to be the center of attention.
They're the victims. They're clearly like codependent.
But their daily life, her daily life in particular, is a constant act. Like that's even crazier.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not. I guess it's not transracial, but it's like transnationality
That's so bizarre.
or something.
Yeah.
There's a $20 one right there.
Jazz said,
Jazz.
I don't care what you say, Brett. I enjoy the Avatar series. Still sorry to derail your convo. I don't think you're that sorry.
Wait, what? Like, I didn't say anything bad about the Avatar series, did I?
I think you had more positive opinions about it than I did.
Well, you know me. I'm just happy everybody had fun. That's how it is at most movies. So I
Or
I
did he
thought
mean
it
the
was
other
fine.
Avatar series? I don't know.
I thought it was fine. So,
Here's some comments from her Instagram post. Wonderful news for your family. And while we mourn the losses of that day, we can only move forward. Praying emoji.
I love how excited they are to keep moving forward and to not
so much
ruminate
relief
at all. Also, it's going to help
your
push
hearts.
it's going to help. They're going to be like, see, we need gun control. They just go off.
Right.
Insane.
I'm just sitting here, standing here, and
Oh,
the gun
no.
just went off.
Yeah.
That's how they see things.
One account called Self-Care is for Everyone said, sending love.
Oh my gosh. Well, people like this because it proves that their poor mistakes and decision making won't be held accountable for.
And they love that.
They want to see that, oh, I can mess up too. And
This is a Prince Harry Meghan Markle match right here. One person said, so happy for you both. You made it through a really tough situation.
That's insane.
So much love and respect you have for each other. Yeah, it was a really tough situation for them, not the family of the person who died.
It's like, even if
Are you kidding
Even
me?
if you were thinking that, maybe not.
Don't
saying
verbalize it.
Yeah,
Never verbalize that.
Like your family can say that to you, I
Right,
guess.
right,
But like
yeah.
some stranger on the internet you've never met is just like, oh my gosh, how did you handle being a murder suspect? That must have been so difficult.
She calls their family the Baldwinitos.
oh my gosh.
Can
you believe the delusion?
No, that's it's a mental crisis that is going on. Like we're in these the worlds of delusional people, and it's playing out right before our eyes.
Comment sections like this are particularly bad for that. Like there's a certain amount of detachment from reality, or like a lot of people who feel like the character you played in that episode, where somebody feels like they can make claims on your time, or they feel like in Hollywood they have to deal with like erotomania, where people feel like they've got a relationship with you,
Sure.
though they've never met you or have never had any type of interaction with you. And now people have these like weird, like parasocial relationships that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're okay. I'm like, they're not reading that.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah, were you like having sleepless nights over worrying if like what was gonna happen to Alec Baldwin?
What's even weirder is they probably weren't. Like, it's more like it just in the moment, because we're so ADHD. They're like, oh, it must have been hard for them. They didn't actually think through what that meant. They didn't actually think through what he did.
We know that it wasn't hard for Alec Baldwin because he openly said that he didn't feel remorse
Yep, he
for
said-
what happened
That's
that
insane. How is that acceptable?
Which everyone knows that even if you're like the actor, Michael Massey, the actor who shot Brandon Lee on The Crow, took a year off and was a wreck afterwards, because after an accidental, the primer discharge from the revolver that he was using on that set. That isn't a perfectly normal reaction after something like that, to be riddled with guilt because somebody lost their life in the commission of something you were doing. Even if it was an accident, even if it wasn't meant to happen, it is completely normal to feel guilt over something like that because you're a human being. Mm-hmm. I also remember, like, he was not that long after all of the court proceedings started, he did, like, Alec Baldwin did this weird live stream on Instagram where he was talking about why Hollywood Blacklist,
blacklisting,
and then
yeah.
started rambling about why he hates the New York Post except for the sports section. And I'm just like, and people are like gassing this dude
Wow, you're
up.
so relatable.
You're so relatable. He's like, I hate the New York Post because Rupert Murdoch owns it, except for the sports section. They have a great sports section. I'm like, you killed a dude like 6 months ago,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Like maybe don't be so nonchalant.
What was really weird too is I follow an actress, an older actress that I'd worked with, and after what had occurred on that set, she was part of somehow situated with the project too, but she was posting things in support of him as if that guy didn't accidentally murder someone. And the delusion is so thick, like that. I'm like, but he killed someone, and why are you talking about what's going on set?
And maybe just like keep it. Don't like. I guess like if it's your family, they have to support. Like, your families are going to support you.
People don't know how to read the room anymore. There's like no room. It's just a clown show.
Well, that's one of the problems we have now, is that when you talk to somebody on the internet, there's a large amount of disparity between. Okay, I could enter a discussion with you about anything, right? We could be
Right.
talking about physics. We could be talking about Roman, like anything,
Right.
And you could be in one mood, I could be in another mood,
Yeah.
and depending on how severe or serious that topic is, if I'm in the mood to just troll you, and like you're having this very serious discussion, people don't realize that you're talking to someone, and the
Right.
context isn't there, because when we're talking eye to eye,
Right.
there's shared environment here. You're reading the room, I'm
Yeah.
reading the room.
Yeah.
There's tone,
Right.
and you lose that online. There's a $20 one right there.
That one was
from Ethan Van Sciver again.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ethan. I can't see it.
It says, any comments on Zeb Wells rewriting Peter Parker and Mary Jane's marriage out of history? If we're talking in the comics, I completely buy it. Are they going to be doing that? Is that canon for the main storyline, or is this some type of alternate universe? I saw the story earlier, but I hadn't read deeply into that yet. But it makes perfect sense. Are they going to be doing something else with Peter? Are they going to be putting him with another character? Are we going to have gay Spider-Man? Is that what the point of it is? Like,
I thought they already did that.
Yes. Well, no, have they?
They didn't?
I don't think they've done that.
We've talked about it before.
Maybe they have. So like, if you're reading the room, right, and like me and you are having this conversation, we can make eye contact. It's not just that, it's body language. It's all these things that go into the human experience that you learn from a young age how to engage with other people.
Right.
And when you do it online, the funniest part about that is like you never have the conversations where all of those things matter in person. All of those very serious discussions where the body language, the tone, all the things that could actually help bridge the gap in the divisiveness, all those discussions happen where none of that is there.
That's so interesting. You're right.
Like it's not like you ever argue. I mean, you might have like an argument with your family, I guess.
I'm not having flat earth conversations in life, but,
Yeah.
I am online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just spreads the divide between us, because we're not, it's like, it should be like a place you could be like, okay, we're about to get into this serious discussion, but we have to meet at a coffee shop to do it.
Right. I just use lots of exclamation points and like happy faces to like get the vibe across.
Yeah.
Actually that's super passive aggressive because
Your happiness outrages them.
Right. Totally.
So
yes.
You're like,
You're screwed either way.
You're like, oh, but I'm sorry, my rights aren't up for debate. And then they're like, you.
Right.
Yes, they hate that.
Another thing about that really bothers me is like conversation about the Bechdel test. And however women are represented on screen only sums up to the amount of lines they get and what the lines are talking about. Completely ignoring the fact that most communication, and especially most female communication, is nonverbal.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.